and I've gone a lot quicker than an hour. But anybody have any questions or any topics for discussion?
Somebody else go.
What's it? Go for it, John.
Let me just add in 3 things.
Yeah, go for it.
One, the equipment that's being procured is warranted for 5 years, so this is viewed as a 5-year installation. In addition, that's getting support from Fortinet, and this project has Fortinet engineering ready on the phone should we need them. So there's deeper support than beyond just this community. And the third thing, might have glossed over a little bit, so I just wanted to highlight that these systems also come capable to do virtual domains, VDOMs, they call them in Fortinet land, which means you can have a virtual router for your OT that's different from your IT, and you keep those things from talking to each other at the router level. No possibility for them to communicate unless you explicitly declare it.
Right. Yes, and Rachel's going to dive into a lot of those. Absolutely.
Either I missed it, I must have missed it, but will these do some sort of user throttling, captive portal, or other data cap?
They, yes, the short answer is yes, they absolutely will. They can't do a hard limit like the Sophos devices can per day, but what they can do is do throttling and do some fine level QoS as well.
Like one, that's effectively the same as cutting them off.
Yeah,
It's not necessarily on a single user basis. One for the whole ship is like cutting off the whole ship.
So you mean one thing like one byte. I don't know what the units are.
When there's a person that
yeah, but I mean, with that, it's possible to do things like allow system updates if nothing else is happening. As soon as something else is happening, that takes a back seat, right? So if there's dead capacity, if there's unused network capacity out there, we can take advantage of it and use it, but also not delay somebody trying to make a phone call, for example.
Rachel has raised her hand online. Rachel, I think we. There you go.
Oh, there you go. Hi, Rachel.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I guess, so about this combination of QoS and also an explicit, here, I'll turn my camera on. So about this, the combination of both QoS and the per user quota. So kind of how we see this, at least in the short term, what we're building up on Endeavor is, so these are kind of solving different problems. So on the, there's say their absolute quota limit. This is where we're trying to say, okay, we don't want to have one device that's just going to totally take over the network and eat all the beans. But on the QoS side, what we're looking to do is, if we look at sort of 3 overall tiers, like, what I'm doing right now is, I've got Zoom going, I've got my camera on, I'm, seeing the slideshow. So I think that from just the perspective of like making sure everyone gets a fair allocation, I think these are very complementary. And one of the key rationales for the hub is that it's easier to implement QoS on the download side. So I'm actually offshore myself now on Nautilus, and this was one of the earlier installations, and this went online well before the hub was, even the prototype hub was available, and we found that trying to do the QoS shaping on the download side on board has been kind of a pain. But so kind of how these will complement each other is that you have this, this ongoing just per device, like absolute usage tracking, like, okay, this device in the last 24 hours since midnight has used, 1.87 gigabytes. And if the magic number is 1 per user, or 6 or 5 or 42 or, E, then that's something where after a certain period, that can be, once it hits the limit in a day, that can be cut off. But the QoS is, so we can say, okay, we've got, our making sure that you're making the most effective use of whatever your limit is. And that as a default policy, you can say, okay, well, just for the whole ship, upload and download. So, most applications are going to be default. There are certain things that we want to put in the background, like say Netflix or YouTube or something like that, or Spotify. And then there's going to be stuff that we want to bring ahead of background usage, like the Zoom that I'm doing like right now. And that's how we have things like for right now, there's nothing special about the laptop I'm on. Like I just walked on board and turned on and joined the Wi-Fi. And because by default, Zoom is prioritized, this is like something where is going to be pretty much functional out of the box. But that's because we've explicitly prioritized Zoom and we've explicitly downgraded the, background kind of bandwidth pigs.
Where are you calling from, Rachel?
I don't know.
No, I mean, you're not here today. Where are you?
Oh, I'm on Nautilus. Right now I'm in my stateroom. So actually for the 2 p.m. talk, I did reserve the studio for that, but they're doing a bunch of interactions where we're diving right now on this it's like I call it the Tetris vessel because it's got all these like rocks and it kind of looks like, you guys remember the game Crystal Castles that they would play at the arcade? So we're basically diving on like crystal castles, but it's like basalt, and I don't know, I guess it's important for science reasons.
They're about a day offshore here.
Wait, oh, is somebody else from Nautilus in this call?
No, I was saying you're about a day out of Hawaii, right?
Oh, yeah, I mean, I can see mountains if I look out the window.
I was just going for that you were on the Nautilus. I wasn't sure if that was had been mentioned in what you were saying.
She just wanted to underscore that you're actually at sea right now on a ship, talking to us over a satellite through a FortiGate, and it's
Yeah.
looking pretty good. It's almost as if you were around the corner. Awesome.
Yeah, sorry, we're doing this, building this whole new ROV, like network-based camera survey, and I don't know, my big accomplishment is I wrote this like multi-threaded Python like image controller in about 2 hours this morning, but we got it working. But I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing or what I'm gonna talk about. It's all right, I'll remember it. I had lunch, I'll be okay.
Well, thanks for being here with us. Any other questions?
Yeah, so just if I understand this thing right, so this is replacing Peplink?
This will replace PepLink and Sophos.
And what?
And the Sophos.
And the Sophos. We have the cyber room.
Oh, the cyber roam, if you still have that, sure, yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of aside, I'm like, hopefully the menus are better than that thing.
Yes, so this is combining at least 2 devices, and something else is that this can also act as the router for the ship. So this can be the hub in between all the subnets on the vessel.
You may have answered my question, but I was gonna say, so how many, is it expandable and or how many ports does it have? I'm thinking about that may be a little too detailed, but in terms of connections, we also have like the regular short connection and then visiting short connections. So and those are, I think, probably just as necessary to be set up ahead of time as the various satellite connections. So that's like up to like 5 right there.
Yeah, there's yes, short answer is not a problem.
Yeah, okay.
Short answer.
The thing to be careful of is if you want the HA, you're gonna need a VLAN where all your shoreline connections are. So you can plug in two different routers into the same.
To the same physical
connection.
connection.
Yeah. Okay. If you want the high availability, if you want to run two routers so that one can take over at any given time. So, but there are quite a few ports. The units are spec'd out to be minimally capable of moving 20 gigabits per second between VLANs, with no filtering, that is. So they're designed to be capable of fulfilling all routing duties on chip as desired.
What's on the shore end? Make these tunnels work and everything?
On the shore end is the 10 times bigger version. So we need to update our diagram, but
Yes,
we had to go
we
with the
do.
1000 series because of the amount of VDOMs we need to do. And so that's it's the same router, just bigger.
Just bigger,
all
more
the chips
capable.
going in.
So we're using a centralized
Yes,
receiving thingy.
yes,
Yep,
and that's
gives
also,
the ability to have the whole fleet, propagate logs, OmniSoc, et cetera, while also then being able to easily move traffic back to host institutions.
I mean, yeah, that's what we were doing before, actually.
well, it is, but the difference is that, we were doing that before over the primary high seas net, and now we can do that over anyway,
Sure.
in this implementation.
Yeah.
That's a big difference here.
Rachel's got her.
Oh, Rachel, you got a question or a comment?
No, I was just gonna say to the point about multiple WAN support. So the template we've been building is we actually put in 7 slots. So there's a Shorelink, cellular modem, or it might be 2 VSAT connections. So if you have like on Endeavor, we have the C-Link, and we also have Fleet Express. There's a slot for a Certus if you have a dedicated Certus. 2 Starlink slots, and for what it's worth, like, and this is something we'll go into more detail when we talk about the architecture. But if we're talking about supporting arbitrary numbers of LAN connections, there's a little bit of an initial bump to get the templates going. But the nice thing is about having them is once you get, once you do the config initial or get the template going, then it becomes really easy to add additional LANs. Like right now we've got slots for 7. And if you don't have something, like it's not the end, like you saw on the screenshot, one of the screenshots that Ken showed, there was a couple that showed up totally red. There's certain things like we have a template slot for the Starlink. Endeavor doesn't have it yet, but once the hardware shows up and we install it, we plug the cable in, and like having that config where it's like it's waiting in the wings for the for the connection. I mean, it's not going to cause any operational problems. So, yeah, and it's there's a little bit of initial setup on our side, building the templates, and then on the vessel side, getting a switch set up with some VLANs. But the nice thing is once you do that, you get over the initial hump, then the process of adding OneWeb and whatever else comes down the line becomes a lot easier.
That's a very good point. Yeah, and one more thing about if these devices are in between the subnets on the vessel, then these can also serve DHCP, so you can drill down in that granularity and get better insight into the individual devices on the system through that question.
Yeah, what kind of physical interfaces do you have?
Dual 10 gig and then several 1 gigs.
Copper?
I think you can do SFP plus in the 10s. Most of it's copper.
I think so. That's a big plus, right? But yeah.
Mine's less technical comment. It speaks to some of the earlier presentations and bandwidth,
Yeah.
IT staffing, that kind of thing. So the observations that I've seen from technicians and mariners are these business systems that we have to deal with on the ships now. So if we were a private company operating a ship, we would design our business systems to work with what we had on our vessels. But we do not have that control. We're all with academic institutions that are going to change the business systems. They've gone to mostly cloud. So the technicians, the mariners, and the scientists are going to have to interact with those systems that we don't with. So the bandwidth and then this type of access is necessary. That's not the way we've handled access in the past, but it's become absolutely necessary for the ships to conduct business and the scientists to conduct business to have this type of access.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Yeah, it has become critical, it's true.
Mhm.
And a lot of cloud, it's true.
Another thing that's changed, another reason, I care at least about the ability of the FortiGate to function as the core router for the ship is trust relationships of networks is changing at universities. It used to be you're inside the university, yeah, it's a party, everybody's good. But now it's a, whoa, we don't want that system to interface with this system. That could be a security vector for someone to gain access and do something nasty. And so, treating your ship-to-ship network connectivity similar to how you would treat internet to ship is gonna be more of a thing going forward.
Yeah, that's probably really true. And, yeah, and in inspection time, it's probably gonna become an important thing to be able to say, yes, we have the ability to.
And we have the logs, here's the proof
Right.
inspector.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that is becoming more important as things go. Any other questions, comments? Oh, yeah, go.
Yeah, I wanted to ask a question from the perspective of an institution that requires all traffic to be tunneled back. And I know you mentioned traffic can be tunneled back.
Yeah.
But some of the early engineering diagrams I saw on this has the traffic tunnel from the ship to the shore to one of these 2 points of presence.
Right.
And then another tunnel back up to the home institution. Is there going to be a process for the home institutions to work with whomever operates that equipment, since it's going to sit in like a man in the middle kind of thing, and you have another vector point for things like pen testing, security, cybersecurity, insurance, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes. Yes, I mean, the tunnels that each institution are creating are gonna be somewhat different, right? So there's gonna have to be some interaction to figure out.
It's also gonna be beat down for UAM.
Right.
So the person who gets in to look at that is you.
Right, and nobody else.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
yeah, there will be others.
there will be others, but I
Someone
mean,
else Jeff says, okay.
well, yeah, but I mean, but what I meant is that not from other vessels or others.
So from the OmniSoc perspective, what sort of benefits is this gonna provide in terms of the cybersecurity oversight?
Well, funny you should ask. Mike was just about to say something. so
Okay, good.
maybe I'll just turn it right over to him.
Something with the tunnels in particular, just remember, if you tunnel traffic directly from the ship through the hub to your institution, then all OmniSoc is gonna see is a varying large to small encrypted stream, and we won't be able to analyze. Right. So you'll want the first tunnel from ship to the hub and then terminate so that we can look at it, and then to set up another tunnel if you want to do that. That's not saying that you can't build your own tunnel from your ship through the hub to your institution. Just realize you're giving them us being able to look at it and warn you ahead of time. But our plans are to ingest the intelligence that's going to be provided through the Forta analyzers. This is our first time actually getting that data feed, so we'll evaluate how well that's going to give us an insight. But then we're also looking into setting up our own network intrusion detection systems. We tend to go with 4 light devices. But if we get everything from the Forta analyzer, then great, need those. But we're going to be working with the test bed to test these out and find the best architecture. But having all of that traffic come through the hub is going to allow us to look at that traffic, warn you ahead of time of anything that we see without affecting your bandwidth from ship to shore. Where if we were to deploy systems that would monitor on a ship, it's then going to take some of your bandwidth to get that data back to us. So there's multiple benefits here, especially for the smaller vessels that may have a smaller bandwidth. We'll give up some of that, but, if you have a ship side Forta analyzer, for example, get that data. Then we can see that or something.
That's a revelation from the testing is we actually have a both analyzers on ship or onshore, on ship. Only need one analyzer somewhere.
Two things. So, people in the back of the room, you need to speak up louder if the people on shore are not hearing you. And what? Oh, yeah. People know, we're on a little boat. We're over here. And the other thing I think I'm getting the feeling from others and from my own, I won't even name who it comes from, but I think there's still a conflict between where the firewalls are and who wants to have control of them. And I feel like that's not resolved yet. And I don't expect to resolve it here, but.
I suspect that's gonna be somewhat different from institution to institution in the end.
That's my point, yes.
Right.
Although part of me is thinking, a lot of people are like, well, there seems to be you can tell me the answer, it's like, seems like you should be able to run two firewalls as long as, one, we can have one that does this and that, and whatever this one lets through, the other one then takes care of it. Is that a huge problem, or can that happen?
Well, you have to have good trust that nothing's being dropped in the process, right?
Wouldn't that be something that somebody once dropped at one end or the other?
I think it's gonna really depend on
Okay, because for
the
instance,
individual circumstances.
Louis blocks all gambling sites, which is not something you may not have in mind, for instance. But I don't think it cares if it arrives to you with all the gambling sites blocked. What's the difference? So, but this is the detail. I don't know. Go ahead.
I could go into a bit of that. I go back to first principles. Why do we have ships? What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're here as a community to support the broad academic research community. And so for providing foundationally different experiences to users on ship A versus ship B, at some point we're creating a problem by having those divergent approaches. And so that doesn't mean we all need to use the same technology, but we should all have a pretty comparable end user experience based on available ships infrastructure. So could we blocking all gambling sites isn't necessarily a problem. It might be worth talking about, is that a fleet-wide thing? But I think it's known and understood that different institutions are going to have different desires here. So the starting point is there enough momentum here that we can get some degree of cooperation intra-institution, demonstrate that, and then iterate forward. So it's not so important if it's not so important if one particular institution or another does or does not participate so much as is this a fleet-wide initiative that is going to provide benefit and perhaps demonstrate a direction that is that the whole fleet could move in peacefully.
Well, and I think iteration is a key point there.
Yeah.
This is all we really need to take the first steps, see how it's going, evaluate, refine, go again. A little basic example.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if I may be naive here, but it seems like if you're tunneling back to your home institution, that home institution can impose all the rules they want at their boundaries, like gambling sites.
Sure.
And that comes without any work on the ship's part.
Yes.
Right. This is supposed to remove barriers.
Yes.
Not create them.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah.
So yes, that's absolutely true. And yeah, George, you were going to say something.
To Robbie's question about multiple firewalls, Seculiac, we currently sit behind 3. We've got the UAF firewalls that the university is running. We're coming through the SOPOS, and then we're coming through the FortiGate. So it is definitely possible. It certainly complicates your life, especially when you're trying to troubleshoot a connection issue.
Yeah, which one is blocking? I can imagine that would be a problem.
Sure. Yeah, certainly true.
This means we're never gonna hear, but on the Sally ride, they let us do this.
We're trying.
We're trying to get everybody, you know,
They're all consistent, they can't, they could say, oh, like, oh, I know that's not true.
Exactly. I mean, how many seat stories?
So, we have 10 minutes until Rachel's presentation, and we don't have a long break period this afternoon. I just have a couple minutes in between sessions, boom, boom, boom. So if you want to take a quick break and stretch your legs, we'll be back on the hour with Rachel's presentation from the Nautilus on the system design for the FortiGates.
All right. Well, in that case, I'll take
Thank you,
action. Right. Way better, so. Okay. Shall. It's something. Maybe. Yeah. It's happening, but it's just really tough. Better, yeah. Sure. What's better for you? Fairly forceful. And people get.
What's that?
It's just.
And it was better.
It's